Greetings, comrades. My name is Gigantals, and as you can see from the title of this video, there are two things I wanted to discuss this week. So, firstly, regarding mine and Captain's strange midnight adventures with spiders, or however it is I worded it in the title. Basically, this all started a couple of weeks ago. So what happened was I was because we share a bunk bed. This is his bed up here, and I'm sitting on mine. So what happened was a couple of weeks ago, I was up at like 1 in the morning for some reason, and I came back from the bathroom, and when I came into the room, because my computers in my room light up the room somewhat, I was looking around absentmindedly, and I looked up at the ceiling, and I ended up seeing a big black shape on it right next to my light. And so Captain, who was either asleep or half asleep, I'm not too sure, he was just lying there in his bed with his arm hanging like this over the railing. And it's hard to show because I'm holding this with my other hand. I took my hand and I gently held it, and I gently held his wrist or something, his lower arm, and I said, "Don't get up." And he told me that the moment he heard that, he automatically knew something was wrong, and so he slowly turned around to look and saw that barely less than an arm's length away was a huge spider. Now, how big is it? Okay, well, you're gonna have to take our word for it, other than the pictures I'm trying to show you. Basically, this spider we're talking about was he described it as bigger than a fist but smaller than a palm. So bigger than this but smaller than this, and it's a giant house spider, which really fits the name. It's a big massive version of the normal house spider that lives in houses, and it's quite big. So what ended up happening was me and Captain spent a good few minutes trying to use the bin in our room to trap it on the ceiling, and then slide a piece of paper over the lid to try and get it to drop into the bin. And we couldn't see the spider the entire time. And eventually we managed to take it outside, and Charlie was busy wondering, what are these two doing downstairs? It's the middle of the night. And so he was just running around the garden as we kept trying to knock the spider out of the bin and into the grass, and then run back inside before he could get inside with us. So that happened a couple of weeks ago. Last night, look, maybe it's a bit later for you, I'm not sure when I post this. Last night for me, what happened was I think it was almost, it's like midnight. Okay, so yeah. What happened was I was in the bathroom again. I think probably getting a drink or whatever. And what happened was when I came back in, I saw Captain just standing there in the dark in front of my bed. And I didn't know it was him, so I almost had a heart attack thinking that there was someone in my room. And he said, "Look, Gigantals, I'm sorry, but while you were in the bathroom, I heard some weird scratching noise, like it was on a poster of mine. And then after a while, I heard something like drop onto your bed. So I came down and I started looking through your bed, through your pillows and duvet and everything, and I couldn't see it. So I was a little bit irritated with him. Maybe joking, it was a ghost. And I went with him, and we started looking through the bed, moving everything apart, trying to see what it was. We found nothing. So then we, after making another joke about a ghost, we then push everything back to normal, and we went to bed. And so I was just there in my bed trying to watch an episode of anime or something, and then I heard a scratching noise, and he says, okay, he's a bit cruder than me with his language, but he basically said, "It's back." And so we were quiet, just listening. Can we hear it? Nothing. So we thought, okay, maybe something's scratching the bed. Maybe, because we're in the bed, we're moving it, and it's maybe rubbing against his posters. Because he has posters just above his bed. I don't. As you can see, I've got no posters next to me. So we started shaking the bed a bit. So I was like, rocking that back and forth on my mattress. I was grabbing the bedpost and trying to shake it to see if I could recreate that scratching noise. However, after a few minutes, we couldn't replicate the noise, and so we returned back to normal. And I was trying to continue watching my episode of anime, but they all kept being pop-up ads, so I wasn't really paying attention. And after a couple of minutes, I heard a very quick movement in the bed above, and Captain said, more crudely than this, he said, "Oh great, turn on the light now." I didn't need to be told twice, so I jumped out of bed immediately, and I scrambled for the light switch, and I turned it on, and I looked into his bed, and just where the skirting board is, just where the wall meets the ceiling, was another giant house spider, and it was slowly crawling along, just avoiding the posters on his bed, not on his wall. And so we got the bin, and we were going to try and do everything we did last time. We got the bin ready and everything. The problem was it crawled down the wall and jumped into his bed. So we immediately had to start moving around his pillows and duvets and everything, trying to find it, because we didn't want to sleep with that thing in the house, with that thing in our room. However, we couldn't find it. So I just not absentmindedly, I just out the blue decided to duck down and look in my bed, and I saw the spider crawling down the wall, like literally right behind me. It was crawling down the wall like this. Okay, imagine this is a spider or something. It was just crawling down the wall, and I said, "Give me the bin now." So I got the bin and I trapped it, and moving relatively quickly now, we were getting experience in this, we managed to bring it outside. The thing was, there were a couple of realizations when we trapped the spider. One, when we headed outside and we got a good look at it, it had 7 legs. We didn't damage it; it just was walking around with 7 legs. 2, when we heard the spider trying to walk around inside the bin, and if you were close enough, you could actually hear it tapping around, which meant that it was the thing that had been scratching the poster from before. 3, what had ended up happening was this spider was crawling on Captain's posters, and it somehow fell onto my bed. And in the amount of time it took for Captain to come down to my bed to try and look for it, it had somehow already walked up the wall back onto his section of the wall. 4. At one point when looking for the source of this noise, before he eventually did find it, Captain put his head against one of his posters to look down at the crack between his bed and the wall. So this area here, he was trying to look down here, which meant that his head was possibly just maybe a couple of feet or even less than a foot away from where this massive house spider was, and he didn't even see it. The only reason why he did see it, and Captain, he has better eyesight than me, but it was still dark. The only reason he saw it was because he simply rolled over and just looked near the ceiling, and he saw just a faint smudge moving. And the only reason why we could see that was because of the glow of my computers in their sleep mode. So, yeah, we dealt with 2 massive giant house spiders in the middle of the night. Almost had a heart attack every time we saw them, and we're concerned that it's the same house spider, and it's just going to come back with 6 legs, and this is going to keep happening until eventually it either runs out of legs or it decides to talk to another giant house spider saying, "You know what, you take over." But yeah, fun midnight adventures with giant house spiders. The second thing I wanted to talk about, on a completely different note, is something I'm a little bit concerned about. Because if you look at the subscriber count to my YouTube channel, maybe it's changed by now, I'm not too sure. It's currently on 666 subscribers. And as we all know, 666 is not a good number when it comes to Christianity. So please do subscribe to my channel so we can get it away from 666 as soon as possible. And if you are on my channel, anytime there are 3 numbers in it, anytime that there are 3 consecutive 6s, please do subscribe as quickly as you possible to try and get out of that danger zone. Because I'm not trying to be superstitious, but it's not good for something Christianity related to have 3 6s in it. Otherwise, apart from that those midnight spider adventures and me trying to avoid 666 at all costs, that's pretty much it for this week. So hopefully you guys out there aren't having a problem with spiders yourselves, or maybe you aren't as scared of spiders. I mean, we don't have arachnophobia, but we just don't like having giant things crawling around in the room and possibly on us when we sleep. But hopefully you guys don't have a problem with spiders, and stay hydrated in this weather. Have a good weekend, all of you. God bless you all. See you in the next video, comrades. Until then.